Hey guys, sorry about the face, man. I thought it was going to look better by now, but I think it looks worse than it did 2 days ago. But what are you going to do? So this video is not about Ukraine and Russia war per se. It's about me venting, man. It's about frustration with the hypocrisy. So Joe Biden just gave a speech to Congress. In it, he basically congratulated himself, patted himself on the back about all these sanctions that he was giving out to Russia, which are going to affect ordinary Russians and actually come back and affect Europe and American working class too, and not affect the oligarchy, not affect Vladimir Putin in the least. But anyway, he's congratulating himself, and everybody in the audience is waving a Ukrainian flag, saying, "Oh, we stand for Ukraine. We stand for the Ukrainians," which is fine, man. Please stand for the people, the civilians that are the victims of any kind of war, and I agree. But newsflash: this war's been going on for 8 years. This war's been going on for 8 years, since 2014, since the CIA led a coup in Ukraine. This war's been going on, and this war has killed 14,000 people in the area of Donbass in eastern Ukraine, now Lugansk and Donetsk. 14,000 people have lost their lives, and the United States and the media in Europe, there's not a whisper about this. Nobody even knows what's going on. I don't blame the people in Europe and the United States. There's good people there, and if they knew what was really happening there, if they saw what I saw with my own eyes when I visit there, I think they would be astounded and appalled as well, because it's basically war crimes going on, civilians being targeted, and not a whisper of this going on. But when Biden gives a speech to Congress, everybody waved the Ukrainian flags, and this. Don't get me wrong, this is not to take away from the civilians in Ukraine as well. I feel for them just equally, as well as the civilians in Donbass, in Russia, and everywhere else that are victims of war. But why are you selecting Ukraine? Because you support them, and because the weapons America supplied Ukraine were used to kill civilians in Donbass, targeting civilians, committing war crimes, and maybe that's why the United States media didn't say anything about it. So about the hypocrisy. So Russia's being sanctioned diplomatically, economically, on the world sports stage. Russia can't compete in the World Cup. They can't compete in the Olympics under their flag or their colors. They can't compete in the World Figure Skating Championships. Of course, the 15 and the 17 and the other 17-year-old girl that make up the Russian national team. Of course, they're to blame for the Russian invasion on Ukraine, of course, and they have their hand in this, so they should obviously be barred from competing in a figure skating competition. And today it was just announced that the Paralympics in China, the Russian team was sent home. These athletes training for years and years to compete at the Olympics. These Paralympic athletes in China, ready to compete tomorrow, sent home from Russia because of a decision that they had obviously nothing to do with, a political thing. I always thought sports was supposed to be separated from politics, but obviously the people in charge, don't think that same way. So anyway, Russia being sanctioned. Guys, what about 2003 when the United States invaded Iraq? The UN Security Council, voted not to invade Iraq. They said there's not enough evidence. There's no evidence of Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. There's no evidence that they're hiding. The United States, no, we have evidence, and they ignored the Security Council and they invaded anyway, killed 1.5 million people, and are still there now. They're still, the United States bombs pieces of Iraq with drones every single day, still. Years and years out, 18, 19 years later, it's still happening on. The U.S. just pulled out of Afghanistan after 20 years of invasion and occupation. 20 years, destroying the infrastructure of that country. They just now pulled out. And the whole, saying, we care about the women in Afghanistan, they have to wear the turbans, and the Taliban is mean to them. And yeah, well, this is the worst part of it: is the United States pulled out, and they also cut all humanitarian aid to Afghanistan. Not just cut humanitarian aid, prevented, blocking all humanitarian aid from any other country, any other organization from going to Afghanistan. So these people, out of a country of 45 million, half of them are at risk, not to be hungry, not to not having to starve to death. Half of them are at risk to starve to death because the severe sanction, and even like regular Afghans go, like they're killing us. This doesn't even include like medical supplies and all this, which have been cut off. So if you get sick, you have like cancer, you have diabetes, you have their illness, bronchitis, something like that, you're dead. You're as good as dead. So, and then I don't think starving to death is a good way to die. I don't think anyway is the best, but that sounds terrible. But that's what the United States is doing. The United States, also Saudi Arabia, an autocratic nation, the United States supports completely. The same nation that beheads 20 people a month in public executions, not for crimes like rape or stealing or murder. No. For like fighting against the government, for speaking out against the government, for political crimes. They get beheaded in front of everybody on TV. And this is the government the United States supports and gives weapons and military equipment to. And this nation, Saudi Arabia, has an enemy in Yemen. And so they're attacking Yemen, and they've bombed the hell out of Yemen for 4 years now and caused a famine. And this famine has killed almost 1 million people, and millions more are at risk. I mean, if you look and you can find the pictures, the people are starving to death. You're not going to see this in the news. You're not going to see this on TV or in the media. But wave a fucking Ukrainian little flag. But let these people in Yemen and all these other countries die, in Afghanistan, and the people in Donbass, they can die, they can be starved to death, they can be blown up, everything like this. And there's no deterrent for the United States. There's no sanctions, there's no you're being bad, you're nothing like this. So it's just the hypocrisy of this whole situation has got me frustrated. And guys, I want to reiterate, I'm not advocating for anything going on in Ukraine, good, bad, or indifferent, or the people there. I just want to say, like, their lives are just as important as every other life, but also just as important as these lives that America is taking by killing through sanctions and bombing and proxy wars and everything else that they do. And it's just not right. And someone should stand up for this. And this should be something that's in the media. This should be something that the United States has some punitive consequences for, but it'll never happen because they control the dollar and they control NATO and they control the world politics. So.